Are you looking for more out of your life? Do you need ideas on how to start new businesses and how to move forward in your own personal life? Well, guess what? You have come to the right radio show. At You Can Overcome Anything podcast show, you will learn and hear from many people from all walks of life who are sharing their challenges, their stories, the habits, and the mind shifts they had to overcome to become who they are today. On top, you will get a chance to connect and see how you can overcome anything by networking and learning about your next move through this radio show. I present to you our great speakers at You Can Overcome Anything podcast show with your host, Cesar Espino. Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. It is your host, Cesar Espino, and today I have a special guest. She's an extraordinary gift spiritual psychology coach and self-love activist. She specializes in supporting high-achieving women that struggle with unresolved trauma in their background that affects their marriages and partnerships. She received her bachelor's in psychology from California Coast University in Santa Ana, and she attended a master's level program called Soul-Centered Living from University of Santa Monica in spiritual psychology. Dawn is an expert in Theta Healing with 15 years experience. Her focus is getting to the roots of trauma through spiritual psychology coaching to reveal the authentic self and live a fully expressed love-centered life. She's launching her program, Unleash Your Sovereign Queen, which helps women rewrite the story of their distrust and come to love. Dawn lives in Santa Rosa, California, with her husband of 20 years and their 12-year-old son. Welcome, Dawn Light Amora. How are you today?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to have you here, and I love the just by reading your bio. I love the things that you've done and you're doing, and so I definitely want to learn more about that. Tell me a little bit about your background, your upbringing, and where are you originally from?
I'm originally born in Texas, so Texas family. Had a very, witnessed a very toxic, tumultuous relationship between my parents. My father was really a rageaholic and abuser, and so I'm a child abuse survivor, including all my family members, honestly. So I witnessed a lot of really terrible things in my childhood, and it took me years and years and years to work on myself and to free myself from those ingrained shame patterns that really kept me hiding, playing small, staying stuck, not owning my voice, not owning my gifts, because I was so, just hiding out from the shame of those experiences. It was so heartbreaking what I witnessed and experienced and actually received.
Yeah. Now, was that really all through your childhood, or when did that began for you?
All through my childhood. I'm the second of there's two of us. Well, there was three technically. My parents had a child in between. They never healed around, but my brother's the oldest, and then I'm the youngest.
Okay.
And by the time I came along, it was really, because there's a 10-year stretch between us. So my mom had already been enduring it for a long time. My parents were married 24 years, and my mom, my mom still to this day says the only thing she regrets is that she should have left so much sooner because the things that we all had to endure. And at the same time, I know in my soul and my whole being that my soul chose that curriculum. And that's such a different mindset shift, is when we start to move into the soul line and experience ourselves as, wow, I'm a soul. I came to this earth for school learning, and all the experiences I have in my life are my curriculum. And it's such an empowering way to look at your life versus feeling shame, regret, and sadness around the things that you had no choice over. I was born into that situation. I didn't have a choice. I couldn't just get up as a 2-year-old and be like, bye, I'm going to go find a new family, right? I had to live in that environment and learn to cope and learn to survive and learn to be myself through it all. And simultaneously, my mother did have more choices, but she was also, you know, a byproduct of her environment and a perpetuating of her ingrained patterning. So both of them were perpetuating their ingrained patterning, and your curriculum works that way. We will draw and attract exactly the right character types and people to play out certain patterning and roles. And so I basically went on a long journey. I'll just keep going because
Mhm.
I just went on a very long journey of healing because I needed the healing. I was like, this doesn't sit right with me. I always asked why in my soul, like, why me? Why do I see other families that had such, easygoing lives? They had prosperity, they had happiness, and I didn't get it. I was like, why does my family seem so effed up and others have it so good? I didn't understand. I was just like, God, what is up with that? And so it led me on a deep spiritual inward quest and outward quest that I was just like not going to be content inside myself until I found resolution, healing, understanding, and completion with what that was. And so here I stand at the age of 48, very, very massive amount of difference in time. And I'm married now to my beloved 20 years this year, and we have a 12-year-old. And that success, and I'm married to my soulmate. I'm married to a man that just, we love each other. There's unconditional love. There's no violence. There's no hatred. We work it out. Yes, curriculum surfaces. We talk about it. There's always an opportunity to grow through it and heal. And that is because of the testament of me and the inner work I've done. I was able to draw and attract a beautiful soul into my life that wants a long-term partnership just like I do because of the inner work and because I didn't give up on myself and I kept choosing better and better and better, and I kept doing the inner work to reflect on what the patterns were about.
Yeah, it's interesting, the things you're talking about, and they're very fascinating. Again, going back to the idea of you were born into that family, or that condition, right? There's nothing you can do, and I totally agree. The question that comes to mind, obviously, what you go through between the ages of 0 and 7, they kind of stay with you unless, as you mentioned, you heal some of those things and you start working through those things. Except you mentioned your mom had uh, the option, and she had the ability to make a change. Why do you feel that, maybe not necessarily in the case of your mom, yet why do you feel that certain people, they do not step away, or they don't break through those barriers? Because again, we all, especially as adults, we do have an option, and a lot of times we tend to stay down, or stay in the place that is hurting us. I was just doing a video yesterday, and I was talking about hurt people, right? And
Yes.
sometimes because of that, you stay in that particular space, and sometimes that can also take you to different paths and areas, right? Why do you feel that people don't build the courage, or the ability to break away immediately when they can?
Such a good question. Well, the pattern is continuing to perpetuate in the person's life. Outer reflection is a reflection of inner world reality, and how we relate to the issue is the issue. So these are spiritual foundational principles that have helped me break free. And so what happens is why people stay stuck is they're caught in their own dynamic of a story instead of actually seeing it from a higher perspective and going, what is my soul learning from this? A lot of people will get caught in a loop of like, why is this happening to me? And it really is an ingrained thing of, for me, I'll speak for myself. So I had a lot of stuck patterning because I received so much abuse that I was caught I was shut down inwardly. And then I would keep staying in toxic relationships and keep choosing them because I didn't inside know my worth and value. I didn't believe that I was worth having a better circumstance because I was trained to believe that's what you accept in life.
Mm,
And so we'll draw and attract the same situations, the same people to keep playing it out until we wake up to it, till
God.
we wake up to learn to go, you know what? I'm going to choose myself here. This does not feel good to me. What am I learning from it? what is, and how we relate to the issue is the issue. It's not the outside circumstance, which gives us, and a lot of people want to focus on the outside and they want to find their solutions from the outside. But really, it's when we start focusing on the inside, because the outer proceeds from the inner. So it's our inner language that really perpetuates what's going on. And if we have an an inner perspective of, I'm not worthy, I'm less than love, I'm not loved, I'm not lovable, I'm not enough, core foundational earth school curriculum pieces that come in for each soul. We all have different curriculum, and there's foundational things that we have to learn to heal and break through, and every soul has it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, no, I
exactly
love
what
that.
I had.
Yeah, yeah. There's one thing that I believe it might be aligned to that, and there's an African proverb that talks about when there's no enemy within, there's no enemy outside that can do you no harm, right? It
Exactly.
comes back to that idea, and so I want to tap more into that. How do you, if I'm stuck or I'm going through whatever I might be going through, whatever trauma I'm living right now, and I wanted to start do that soul searching, how did I do that, or what are some things that you will say people can do so they can start finding that and start pivoting to a different direction?
So my best thing to do, honestly, is lean into your relationship with source, relationship with
Mm.
God. It doesn't matter if you don't like the word God, you can say source, divine, light. You have to find your connection point to the thing that gave us creation. We are here from a place of light and sound that was birthed into us, what gave us breath, gave us a body, gave us this, and the truth is we're having one conversation with self at all times. God is in everything, every place, every particle, this desk that this computer, our beloveds, our relationships, it's one relationship. And so really it comes down to your relationship with yourself, which is God, and it's about how you're relating to yourself. So lean in and have prayer. Have a prayerful, and you don't have to pray eloquently. You don't have to say all these beautiful words. Just be sincere. God, come into my soul and show me the way forward.
Yeah,
You know,
and
Spirit, bless my life. Show me how to heal this. Show me how to release this. Show me how to release these patterns from my consciousness.
yeah, I definitely love that. And definitely for the people that are listening to this and watching this, one thing that I have to tell you is that if you're listening to this, you're watching this, that means that God or whoever you believe on is not over with you. And there's a bigger purpose for you. And so we got to be able to, again, find that, whatever that might be, because there's still so much time for us to do whatever we're meant to do, right? And so we got to be able to find source, God, or that greater power that you believe in, for sure.
Yes.
Um,
And the truth is that this curriculum, whatever you're going through, whatever your struggle is, it could be, financial struggles, it could be losing a home, it could be relationship challenges, it could be, and there's a full spectrum of issues, and when we look at people's precious lives, and the truth is that curriculum is in your life serving you for the greatest good, because you
mm,
will have the breakthroughs if if it's put in your life, then you also simultaneously have the inner language and the inner code to awaken to it, to break free from it. And that it's simultaneously like a beautiful puzzle that's given to you, and you have the empowerment and the power to lean in all the way and heal every part of the curriculum. And then what happens is when you start doing this, you start unearthing, like, the pieces, the stuff starts falling away like an old coat. You take off the shame, you take off the regret, you take off the hurt, and you heal those core traumas. And then underneath that are all these beautiful, authentic, self-expressed gifts that are yours, that you came as a soul with.
mm, yeah. I love the way you put it, and I never heard it that way. Obviously, I heard of the idea of the school of life, right? We're always learning, right? Except I really enjoy, and definitely for me, it's a different perspective, and I really enjoy that everything we're going through, or there's a curriculum. That's our class that we're taking right now, and so talking about that, one of the things you talked about earlier was we got to start making that mindset shift. We got to start looking at things from a different perspective, right? And so for you, you also talked about going through your own healing process, dealing with what you dealt with growing up. How did that look for you, or what were some of the things that you had to do to start healing and start seeing things from a different perspective and having a different mindset? Because I believe that that's huge, right? When you start
Oh,
looking in the inner and start changing that
it's
shift.
massive.
Yeah.
It's probably the largest aspect of the work I do with my clients is help them cleanse the lens of perception.
Mm,
And so for me, how I started doing that is, I mean, I was so young when the trauma happened. I was kind of operating out of survival for a long time and still perpetuating the patterns. But by the age of like 25, I moved from Texas to California, and I kind of made a large statement to spirit, because I say spirit a lot, God,
mhm,
spirit, source.
mhm,
I made a large statement like, I get to choose who's in my life now. I get to choose who's in my inner circle. And that was me reclaiming like my power to choose. I'm going to choose conscious relationships. I'm going to choose people that have self-growth as their intention in their heart. I'm going to choose people that have integrity, loyalty, kindness, unconditional love. Like, I'm going to look for these qualities. I'm going to draw and attract these people into my life. I was choosing it because I was like, I know there's more than this reality.
yeah.
I knew that as a child, but I had this hero's journey to go on. And so I started reading books. I started taking workshops. I became doing healing work. I started first as doing Reiki. That was my first modality in like 1989.
Mm,
And then from there, I was learning about essential oils and hands-on healing. And then became a massage therapist. Um, and then was a massage therapist for a long time. Theta Healing came into my life in 2005, right after I had met my beloved. And so I did a lot of deep inner work around mindset shift and belief work, because our beliefs create our reality.
mhm,
So it goes even deeper than that with the work I do now, which is spiritual psychology work, which is actually like looking at all the parts of the pattern, and I help connect the dots of where it came from. Is it intergenerational? Is it overlaid in is this your parents pattern in your consciousness? And I get you to see all the pieces and release all the misidentifications that were founded through the trauma and through the core experience.
yeah. Yeah. How important is it to you? You obviously made a choice and you said, I'm gonna choose what I want now. So that's definitely a very uh, important statement. I'm choosing to have this type of life. I'm choosing to not be around these people. I'm choosing to whatever that might be. And then the other one is not only you're choosing, now you're also gonna start thinking and changing some of the beliefs, right? How important is it tying the beliefs and or the choices to actually doing actions, and then how do you get yourself to actually doing those actions? Because right, a lot of times you hear this idea is like, I can have all these affirmations. I believe in affirmations big time, and even through my own journey, I did a lot of that, except you have to tie it into an action. And
Yeah.
oftentimes people can get to, well, I choose to, I'm probably tomorrow I'm gonna stop eating bad, or I choose to try to attract people that are better for me, right? Better quality. Yet they don't take the action, right?
Right.
And that's where a lot of people might be missing that piece, right? Is that action taking. Um, how important is that, and how do you get somebody to start taking action once they choose or decide that they want to have something different for themselves?
Well, okay, there's two approaches here. So
Mm-hmm.
one approach I'm going to speak of, and just generally, like if you're working with yourself and you find yourself not following through with the commitments you're making to yourself, then that is a deeper inquiry to look at. And what does help one is to just realize where you are and realize it's about letting go of shaming and wronging yourself. Because if you're wronging yourself, you stay in a loop, and that's creating more and more self-sabotage. So you have to get out of the mindset of wronging yourself and acknowledge, you know what, I baby stepping my way there. I had that cup of lemon water instead of that sugary donut. I'm just going to use that as an example.
Mm-hmm.
And and you know what? I accidentally had a half a donut today, but you know what? Tomorrow I'm gonna have my lemon water. I do lemon water and chicken broth in the morning, so that's
Oh,
my that's
yeah.
my thing for health. But I'm going to just use that as an example, you know, and so it's important our self language, our self talk around how we, it's about not shaming or wronging ourselves for the growth, because it's our growth pattern. We're asking, spirit's asking us to go from where we've been to a new level in self. And so there's a bridge that we need to like walk across in inwardly. And so it's no baby walks perfectly when they start walking, and we
Right.
don't go, oh my God, you know, we're not terrible on them about, you know, falling down. We're never shaming them or wronging them. We just say, good job. You
Yeah.
got this.
Keep doing it. Yeah.
Doing it. Well, it's the same language inwardly that we need to approach towards ourselves when we're learning a new skill, when we're overcoming a deep pattern, when we're working with ourselves. We have to learn to be kind to ourselves. And then the other aspect is how I work with people around this, because this does come forward a lot for people when they're working through a really deep curriculum and trauma, because it's always connected to
Mhm.
parts of our childhood where we're either frozen or really a trauma occurred and our brain has not learned. We're stuck. And so we have to actually learn to get into there and actually dialogue with those parts that are stuck and give it a voice and like learn to heal and rewire. And there's an actual technique that I actually guide people through to help them rewire the events that occurred in their life so their brain stops going down that neuro pathway that says, I'm not enough, I'm wrong, and keeps perpetuating that same pattern in the outer relationship, in our what we call our lens of perception, so
Mhm.
our perceptual field. So if we're always seeing something through the space of I'm not enough, then we're going to draw and attract people that show that to us. And
Yeah.
so outer reflection is a reflection of inner world reality. And when we do the deeper dive and start to cleanse the lens of perception around all the traumas we've had in our life, then it frees us. And then we get the natural inward momentum, and it's the self saboteur leaves.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. One thing that comes to mind, and I believe is important, and you kind of touched on that, I believe, is the idea of words do matter. We're very easily on judging ourselves, as you mentioned. And I think people need to understand that um, it's probably even more important to be going through the process than being already at the finish line, right? The
Yes.
process is what's is critical, right? And so, as you mentioned, we got to start looking at that inner dialogue that we're having. And I did an article on words do matter and why words we got to choose certain words, because again, the way and the things that we tell ourselves, then we're judging ourselves, right? And I found that myself doing that too, you know, in the past, where I'm like, oh man, I'm so dumb, I forgot to do this or whatever. And I'm right away I realized I just called myself dumb. Unconsciously I did. And you
Right.
got to just kind of go back and reflect on that and say, never mind, you know, let me change that dialogue. I just forgot, or you know, or something to that effect. So it's important for people to know that it's critical to be going through the process, more so than being at the finish line, right?
Mhm. I love what you brought forward. You know, a simple hack is I always just say if I have, because, you know, consciousness is always streaming things through,
Right.
and it's also based on our previous experiences or our younger years. And if they're not complete, it's unresolved material in our consciousness. The karma relies in the unresolved material. So it's being given to us through our life experience. And it's natural for the mind to grasp at you know, the ego will want to do that of negative talk and negative things. So you just say cancel,
Mm,
cancel,
yeah.
cancel, and then you allow spirit to give you a download of like what is the highest choice here, because that's where our power lies, is in between stimulus and response, is always a space that we can slow down a little bit and give way for spirit to step in and give us a download of like, actually, I am doing this. And self praise, self honoring, self love. In
Mm.
that moment, yes, you might not have it perfect, but there is no such thing. And if you just acknowledge yourself for what you're doing and your growth in the moment, you get better and better and better at self acknowledgement and self praise.
Yeah, I love that. I want you to, you've talked about this, and if you can expand on this, because I think this is a very important message. And one of the things that you have here for us is Healing is being with all of the parts inside that ache for our attention. Making self-honoring choices in our life rebuilds our trust and help us attract what we want most in our life. Can you tell me more about that? Because I think that's a very deep message, and I want to be able to expand on that a little bit more.
Oh, it is a deep message. Yes. So trust was my main curriculum coming into the Earth School. Like I didn't trust spirit. I
Mm,
did not trust that a man could take care of me because I had such a bad relationship with my father. I was basically I made a choice so young unconsciously that I had to get down to and get clear about. And I realized that I made a choice to be the man and the woman because it was never safe to allow a man in. So then what did that do in my relationships? It really wasn't successful because
right.
I was never making room for the man to be my man
Mm,
because I was fighting with the masculine.
hmm.
Was fighting outwardly, not knowing I was. I was like aching so deeply to be held, to be cared for, to be deeply loved and supported, but yet aching for it, but fighting with it and not believing that it was happening. So I had that dance inward for a long time. And it really came down to the fact that I didn't trust myself because of the hurt and the trauma that was imposed on me. Yes, it was imposed on me, but it's my responsibility to take responsibility for what I made it mean and what I believed about myself and made a self identity about in those experiences. And I had to go back in time and self source those memories, those hurtful things, like the deepest ache and trauma that I experienced, and bring it close and say, it's okay. It's okay. It's done. We will never have to go through this ever again. I'm right here with you. I love you. And it's deeply healing,
Mm,
deeply healing. And I had to get in there and get angry for the times that my power was felt like it was taken away, but I was giving it away in that moment, you
yeah.
know. And there's so much rewiring in that trauma that and that's why I'm a do what I do now
Hmm.
because I had to learn that path. And now I'm like, oh, I can help you because I get it. Like I get what it's like to be stuck in the muck and like not know your way through because I lived like that for a long time.
Yeah, I love what you mentioned, and you said, about responsibility, and one of the things that I tell people, it is not your fault that you grew up into a particular family. It is not your fault that maybe somebody ended up beating you over or getting robbed. That happened to me,
Right.
2 years ago, whatever. Except that is your damn responsibility to do something about it, and what you do is really is what counts, right? So I love that idea because we do need to take responsibility. We cannot control everything, right? And at the end, we got
It's
to
an
be able to do
illusion.
something. Yeah,
It's an illusion to believe that we can control anything, honestly.
yeah,
Control is the master illusion.
yeah. And I can already see how even the idea of just I want to be in control of everything can actually be doing you more harm than anything because you're working on something that again, like you said, is an illusion, right? So,
Yes.
um,
And it's really just the ego seeking safety, security, and comfort. And that the fact is we will never feel a fulfilled life if we live from the ego's state of being. And that's just a false narrative, a false reality. And we're clinging to like our safety and security. And we've all felt when people are doing this. And the reality is, you know, there's a lot of like deep inquiry and question of like, how do people live such expanded, full, fulfilled lives? Well, they're living from their authenticity, their true,
mm,
authentic soul's expression, and there's nothing in the way because they're a vessel for spirit to flow through, and they've done the inner work to clear the way to allow the vessel through. And I can really speak from that. I'm living from that place now. I'm still humaning. I still have conditioning stuff that arises, but I have the tools to work my process now.
right.
And I can recognize when my ego steps in and wants to like I'm like, oh, sneaky, I see you, and then I'm able to just lean back in and lean back into the heart of like the love that my being, we're existing in God's essence and love. We're loving essence at
Yeah,
the core of our existence. So it's really about allowing that to be the guide in our life. And
yeah.
everything is in flow when we live from that state and place.
Yeah. When we talk about the people that you work with, I'm assuming, or you tell me, is it everybody's relationship program is different, is tailored to them specifically, or how does
Yes.
that work?
Well, I have a group program for women, which is called Unleash Your Sovereign Queen, and I'm doing a challenge that I'll speak about it probably at the end. But
Yeah.
so I do have a group program for women, really specifically to unleash the stuck parts, to heal the places where the trauma is. It's a really deep dive. And then I do one-on-one work individually with people. So I work mostly with women, but I am things are shifting and up leveling in my business, and I've been working with couples lately,
Hmm.
which is so deeply transformational and amazing. I have worked with couples in the past in my therapy practice, but I'm bringing them back in now, and it's just because my husband and I are starting to work together and want to build out a retreat, and so it
Nice.
just feels like it's spirit's been guiding me to say yes to working with couples, and it's been so profound. So it is hand tailored. I'll do a deep dive when I do a clarity session with someone. It is a conversation around their life curriculum, what they've been through, and then I handcraft a whole, series of events and months of work, basically through coaching, to really like unearth the foundational issues and really come home to them. So it's really hand tailored.
Gotcha, gotcha. And then you work with people all over the place, throughout the world, or is it specific regions? Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah,
I do. I mean, I most of my clients are in the United States, but I have had some clients outside of the States too. And yeah, I'm not limited because Zoom is so wonderful,
yeah,
and time zones are a bit tricky, but
yeah.
Zoom is amazing.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. So if people wanted to connect, find out more about you, or where they can find you, and maybe be part of your in circle, how can they find you?
Well, yeah, come to any of my websites, which is sparkyourinnergold.com or dawnlightamora.com. And then I do have a 4-day challenge that I'm launching right now in August. So it's August 15th through the 18th. Embody your radiance, restore your trust, and get the love you want. And it's really to help women come home to the places where they've distrusted themselves in relationship, or if you've had relationship issues, if you've had long-standing issues in relationship. This is a deep place of just self-inquiry and really, a pouring in of the loving of yourself, so that you can come home to those places and not live from that place anymore and feel expanded and free in your relationships. And so that'll be the 15th through the 18th. And the URL is tinyurl.com/queen activation.
And is gonna be an online 4 day?
Yes,
Okay,
it's
awesome,
a free online event. There's going to be prizes and
nice.
giveaways, and it's an amazing experience. I did it last year at the beginning of the launch of my program, and again, here I am a year later doing it again. So
Yeah.
it's so exciting.
No, definitely. No, I love that. Well, no, that's huge, and we'll have all of this also on the show notes for you guys to check it out. Let me ask you this. Definitely you've gone through a lot of work. You've done a lot of things to self heal. What are some daily habits that you do on a day-to-day basis to keep you up and running in a positive state of mind? Do you have any?
Yes. Um, I for a long time I had a mirror practice that
Oh,
had specific phrases in mirror practice. Meditation practice is key in the morning, and body exercises like attunement to the body. So whatever exercise, even if it's a short amount, like this morning before this, I got on the treadmill for 45 minutes. And that
mhm.
was like, it's good. I'll listen to positive things in my headphones. I'll listen to something that's like uplifting and really like wiring in the day, getting clear with spirit. But really, I think, sitting at your altar and meditation practice is a key ingredient. Saying affirmations. I'm building out a cold plunge, so I'm going to incorporate cold
Oh,
plunge
yeah,
in my
yeah,
morning soon.
yeah.
And because I feel like it's like I'm really interested in that biohacking, like working with the body, and as we age, like we taking responsibility to take really good care of ourselves, right? Because when we're in balance in that way, then we don't get triggered so much. Our,
Yeah.
and when we really start to work on our curriculum and it starts to dissolve and resolve, then we get more and more incongruent with like how to live our best life.
Yeah.
And I love that you asked about practices because it's all about daily nurturing practices, self-nurturing practices.
Yeah, no, definitely. And one of the things that I'm looking at doing is also that cold plunge, because I do believe that we got to be able to take care of that vehicle. And in my sense, when I talk about that vehicle, is this body that's taking us through this journey called life, right? And so when you start doing those things and start creating some habits, daily habits, things that are gonna serve you, and everybody has different habits. Except I'm always interested to see what people are doing, so that people that are listening can say, you know what, let me try that. And so for the people that don't know what's the mirror practice, tell me a little bit more about that, because I've done some of that in the past, but I want to know more from your perspective.
Yes. I will actually pull up my document and
Yeah.
read it to you. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is the first time I think I hear somebody talk about that particular practice. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely
Yeah.
interested
So
to.
it's really, really simple. You say your name and
Mhm.
then you say, I'm proud of you for, and then you put a blank and you look in your eyes when you're doing it and you say it 7 times. I'm proud of you for, say your name. Dawn, I'm proud of you for overcoming your trauma. And, like you
Mhm.
just do it 7 times. Then you move on and you say your name. I forgive you for blank. You do that 7 times. And then you say your name. I commit to you that you say a blank. You do it 7 times. And
Yeah.
that's it. And then you just look yourself in the eye and say, I love you.
Yeah.
Fully soul gaze with your eyes and feel the love in your heart for your temple, like gratitude, invoking gratitude for the life that this precious, precious life that's been given to us. It's a gift. It's a
Right.
gift.
Yeah.
Every moment of our life is a gift. And Spirit loves that. Spirit loves when we start with gratitude or start our day with acknowledgement of Spirit. Thank you. Thank you for this precious life, even if it's short, a meditation in the morning. I mean, I have I have a whole slew of like, and I'm even working on a Kajabi, portal for my clients and for people to purchase, which is actually a calling in the light practice.
Mm.
So that's not available yet, but it's like sneak peek into my
Yeah.
reality of what I'm building out. But yeah, because I find that the morning practice is so key ingredient to like a more successful life. So I've been keen in that, and thank you for bringing that forward because it's
Yeah.
absolutely true.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Don, one last question for you. For the people that are listening to us and they are watching us, you've already given us a lot of great insight and a lot of great advice. What would be one more advice that you can give the people that are listening to us that are going through some sort of challenge, whatever challenge that might be, and they can start doing now to start overcoming that challenge?
Yes. So if you're dealing with something that's just incredibly triggering and you're constantly triggered, these are the 3 principles that I work with. Healing is the application of loving to the places inside that hurt. I'll say it again. Healing is the application of loving to the places inside that hurt. Pour love to where it hurts and be with it. Don't reject it. Don't push it away. Just bring it close and bring love there. Yeah. And remember, outer reflection is a reflection of inner world reality, and how you relate to the issue is the issue. And if you stay in this and stop asking why and start asking, leaning in, how am I relating to the issue that it really is the issue? What is this? What is here for me? Spirit, guide me. That is the inner shift that's going to help you start to work with the triggering stuff, because when you're triggered, it's yours and it's your opportunity to work with bringing love into the places that feel self-doubt, self-hatred, whatever the curriculum might be,
Mhm.
anger, regret, sadness, sorrow. There's a full spectrum.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Wow, thank you so much. That's huge. Definitely, I enjoy having this conversation with you, and
Me too.
definitely learn a lot of different things. Is there anything else that you would like to share before I let you go?
No, I just want to give a big shout out to all the women out there that want to come join the Sovereign Queen Challenge. Please, I would love your presence there. You're going to get so many good takeaways. You're going to learn like valuable skills around all the age stages and what happens at age stages and why the patterns surface. It's really a deep dive into that. There's going to be queenly activations, meditations given, prizes, giveaways. And then eventually I will give one huge opening spot to my 6 month program. So
Oh, nice.
like a lots of bonuses and like juicy things that I'll mail you in the mail for the winners. So
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of good reason to participate, lots of good takeaways, and it's free for 4 days. Why not?
Yeah.
Have
Yeah,
fun.
definitely. No, I love that. So definitely you guys have to go out and check that 4 day challenge. It's gonna be amazing. Don, again, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your presence at the show. Really means a lot. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being here today. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And for the rest of you guys, please do me a favor. Please make sure you share this message because definitely somebody has to hear this message. And I'll see you guys at the next episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Cesar Espino, real estate investor, business coach, and consultant, and author of the book, You Can Overcome Anything, Even When the World Says No. My number is 424-501-6046. In my book, I talk about making the necessary changes to shift your mind for prosperity and certainty. Pick up your copy at Amazon. I also love helping families with their real estate and can purchase your house fast and all cash. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. My number is 424-501-6046.
Thank you for having me today. I am so glad you've tuned into this podcast. You can find me at your favorite podcast platform where you can like, subscribe, comment, and share. And to learn more about myself, my services, you can find me at www.cesarrespino.com, or you can also find me at your social media. Thanks for joining me, and I am looking forward to having you at the next episode. And know you truly can overcome anything.